Henry McClure Live. We're going out on YouTube and TikTok right here. Tim Gibbons, you've been following my YouTube, and you've been, lately you've been like a great fan, and I was just thinking today, I'm always talking about Mace Rich to people, and it's like think of the experience we had in the mall business. So I joined a company called the Mace Rich Company in 1983. And the Mace Rich Company was the second owners of White Lakes Mall here in Topeka, Kansas. And what did I just say? Oh man, it's been a long day. So Mace Rich was the second owners of White Lakes, and in 1983 I went to work for him. Mace Rich was able to leverage owning one mall in Topeka, Kansas, to become the third largest mall owner in the country. Look at their stock symbol. It's MAC. Um, and let's just say the old gray mare ain't what it used to be, baby. It's just not the company it was. They just squeezed out one of the founders of the company, and what's really shitty what they did was the dude Dana's going to be 90 years old in on July 11th, and they cut his insurance off, and we don't want to set a precedent. And he goes, well, why don't you say that if you've been with the company for 58 years, then you can when you retire when you retire from the company you founded, you can still pay for your health insurance. And Dana's a character. You got to see this guy. He still goes into work. He's overworking Linda right now. Linda was his sister-in-law. It's his ex-sister-in-law. And Linda's wife, or Linda's husband, was the brother to Dana's wife, right? And Mike, her ex-husband, was just not a nice guy, and isn't a nice guy. He's so full of shit. But I'm sitting here kind of loopy. I don't feel like driving home right now, and I know my daughter's in town. I'd like to try. She's at some wedding. I'd like to try to. I feel like being a wedding crasher. You know, I should have done. I should have got some of the details of where her wedding was. Hey, thanks for tuning in here on TikTok. But so today I was in an architect's office, and Brian's had trouble relating to me because of the difference between street smarts and book smart. So in 1983, first I got into the training program and went to Winter Park, Florida. Then after 3 days, I hated the job. I hated it. I was a real estate agent in Topeka, and some big fat bald guy put me in a like a file room with a desk and a notepad, and if he called you, you had to run in and take notes. And look, I've always been kind of an independent guy. I'm the guy that could get out of his crib, get out of the house, like when I was a baby. So I've been very independent. I've always loved being able to I'm a little bit claustrophobic. If I never flew on a commercial jetliner again, it'd be okay. Now, if you got a private jet and you're close to Topeka and you need me somewhere to do some Henry McClure lives on site, fly in, pick me up. We'll go wherever you need to go. In fact, I really want to build a soundstage and a studio here because we've got the third largest runway here in Topeka, Kansas. So we got to be, and plus, who in the hell would want to live in LA anymore? And who would want to live in New York anymore? Did you know this is a fact? I gotta research this fact a little bit, but they say there's the equivalent of 50 Empire State Buildings that are vacant in New York. I mean, the office market has been in the tank for a long time. And the office market will never recover in my lifetime. So, and that's the next 65 years. So, I am going to live another 65 years just to piss everybody off, all the haters. And plus, you got to outlive some of the politicians here in Topeka because they're so stupid. They just bought a hotel in Topeka. They got no business. They can't run the city, let alone getting into private enterprise. Because, see, what Topeka, Kansas does, and Spuds, Tim Gibbons will know this better. They're choking Topeka because they want to control Topeka. They want to decide who's going to get the deals. And it's a bunch of, individually, if you just sat this one person down and talked to them, they're nice people. Oh, you worked for a not-for-profit, and maybe you need your mustache waxed, but she's still a nice person. You go to the neighborhood meetings, you hold their hand. Oh, we love you. But when you put the collective together, they don't have enough sense to run the city appropriately, and they spend too much money. And hell, that's the whole reason I'm running for county commission. I am going to be a county commissioner. So, back to the architect meeting. So I'm in Winter Park, Florida, and I'm there 3 business days and hate it. And I read this. We had this thing called The Happenings sitting on my desk, and The Happenings was like, do you remember like when you were a kid, you got a weekly reader? And so a lot of you guys don't remember that because I'm so old. But old souls, we remember everything. And I've always had a photographic memory. And I'll admit, sometimes I only remember what photographs I want to. But, overall, and what's really amazing, after being the alcoholic and drug user I was, that, I don't have wet brain, and I didn't really drink away my memory. And also, too, there's some stuff that's just not worth remembering. And in fact, that's what I'm doing today, day to day. I've been reading Marcus Aurelius's meditations, and like some of it just doesn't matter. I don't care really what you think. I'm not going to go out and try to reinvent myself every way to get your vote. Look, either you're going to vote for me or for not. If you want extreme change in Shawnee County, you vote for me. So I'm reading this about this big project in Boulder, Colorado, and they say, hey, man, it's like this huge thing, and it's talking to me. The article's like I'm manifesting my move as I'm reading this article. So some time goes by, and I'm reading the lease, and I'm the 3rd guy in the management training program, and the phone rings, and it's Charles Waldron, who's really a great guy. And And I didn't know this until I got sober. I didn't really know he was a good guy till I got clean and sober. And this is so long afterward. But uh, okay, what's going on here? Something popped up on TikTok. What happened? Invite somebody to be on my show. It's some guy from Pakistan. I don't know. Who was it? So um, I go into Charles Waldron. I got my notepad. I'm there ready to take notes. And he goes, "Hey, we've got this mall in Boulder, Colorado." And I go, "When do I move?" And what's ironic was the guy that I worked for in Topeka in the real estate business. He said, "You don't want to go to work for that Jew. He's just going to move you all over the country." And Mace of Mace Ridge, his name was Mace Siegel, one of the nicest. I mean, the godfather of real estate deals. Mace was an empath, and when I speak, my emotions are out here. So an empath can just read those emotions, and as I'm describing things, he can connect to you, and then like he's in your head. It's like Spock, but doing it through telepathy. So I'll be describing a meeting, and then he'll start talking about it. Like this guy was wise. He was so amazing, Mace Siegel, and Mace married a Catholic, and so he wasn't a Jew that was into being a Jew as far as like the hairdo and the hats and all that. I, I don't know if the dude owned a yarmulke. But anyway, boom! I go, "When do I leave?" And they do, "Well, we're going to," he said, "Who told you that you're going to be moving?" And I didn't know. I just guessed because I'm an empath too. I can read his energy. And so he said, "Well, at the end of 2 weeks, we're just going to go over everything to do with how we get the plans in and do the construction." And so, because our leases in the mall business are they're very articulate as far as very firm criteria to help keep our insurance rates down. But also, too, the insurance companies were usually our financial partners on the really big projects. I mean, like we had Prudential. Well, they're all really big projects, but Prudential, Northwestern Mutual, uh, those were Northwestern Mutual was actually our favorite partner, and they were my favorite too because they requested me to work on Reno, Park Lake Mall in Reno. So my first assignment is to get all the tenant plans in. It was a 2-level mall, so I had to get the plans in and make sure the HVAC systems were right, the the electrical. I mean, you had to turn in a full set of plans, a set of sepias, which is a term for a reproducible. I mean, and these sepias back then, I mean, these things are drawn out by hand with ink. I mean, they're back in the day, uh, before CAD systems, they're doing all this stuff by hand. Big tables, draftsmen, architects, engineers, all this stuff. So, and then we also made you get us a sign detail and a sample board. And what I did, and I'm going to tell you, in commercial real estate, even commercial real estate today, the number one way to indicate if a deal's going to go smooth is the plans. If you've got a good set of plans sitting on your desk, and your client's organized, that deal's going to go through. You're going to get paid. And anytime a guy will, uh, anytime a guy will get all his plans done before closing, you know that deal's going to close. And it's different in the brokerage world so much to the mall business, because in the mall business we were all salaried employees, and but I cut my teeth in the mall business by being the tenant plans coordinator, and that was a $40 million project in '83, which would be like on today's money, it's a $125 million project, and I'm 22, and I didn't take any shit. And finally, one day, the director of construction came in. So I'd get the plans in. I'm working for management, but I would report to the leasing committee, and the leasing guys would come in, Mace and Dana, and so all the big shots of the company, the owners, and that's back then we were a privately held company. So all the big shots are flying in. We're having these leasing meetings. A guy named Steve Roush, Steve Yeager, and Tommy Murrin were all the leasing guys. And we'd all go out to lunch, and I'd come back and I'd have a stack of calls. And then I reported really to this guy named Mike Siegel, who was Mace's nephew. And Mike was really a good guy, because he was really smart, but he'd always catch you like, well, wait a minute, did you call that guy? What are you doing? What are you doing? And it was like, you could never, don't take no. So, hey, how you coming on the plans? Well, we got to get the electrical drawings and we're done. Oh, okay. Well, give me the guy that's doing the electrical drawings. What? Yeah, I'm calling that guy, and I'm calling him, and then when I talk to him, I go, you're holding up our whole project. We got a $40 million project under construction, and you're holding the whole thing up. And like, really? Like, who are you? I am the guy telling you what it is and what you got to do. So one day, the director of construction walks in. Now, this guy's name is Henry Nathan Sims. And Henry Nathan says, hey, you know the plans better than anybody. I want you to now make sure they build them to plan. And he hands me a walkie-talkie. And he goes, well, you can get me on this walkie-talkie. Okay. And Henry Nathan stalked that project like a bear. So we've got the corn shell under construction, and it's a union shop, but all the tenant finish is non-union. And so now I'm out there, and I got total control over the union guys because they work for me. And then I got total control over the tenants, contractors, because they got to adhere to the lease. And I'm the landlord to them. And sometimes the union guys and the non-union guys would be fighting, and I'd get right in the fucking middle of it. We're not doing this. We're not playing these games. We got stuff to do. And after that was over, Mace said, what was really even better is the day after the grand opening, the project manager quit, this guy named Bill Hendricks. And then I got to do the corn shell punch list and the utility punch list. And this was a TIF project, tax incremental financing. We had, I think we had 20-year bonds that we paid back in 7 years, because this thing just cranked. And that project is what made Mace Rich a profitable company, got him out of debt. And Mace goes, well, you did a good job. What are you going to do now? Go into leasing? And I started telling him how much I love construction and it was really fun. And then his nephew Mike elbows me and he goes, Henry, he's offering you leasing. So leasing runs the company, leasing runs the industry. So I said, Mace, I'm getting into leasing. He goes, good move. He goes, I'll get you an assignment. Okay, so what was that noise here? You're notifying Tommy Robertson. Hello, thanks for joining in. Got a couple of viewers. Mike, thanks for tuning in. I'm coming to you live from Topeka, Kansas, talking about the real estate business, talking about the Mace Rich Company. And if I could get that song going in the background, Glory Days. But the mall business was so incredible. And then Mace finally, after finishing, I got out of Boulder in about 6 months. But I go down to Chattanooga, Tennessee. And then I think that's when I met Spuds, Tim. Tim was my replacement. And Chattanooga for me was like, that was the biggest town I'd ever lived in. If you think about it, because Topeka, it's like 125,000. And Boulder only had like 80,000, even though it's right next to Denver, but it's its own little city, right? And then Chattanooga, like the metropolitan Chattanooga area had 500,000 people. And I'm telling you, living in the South is different. And the ladies, oh my God, you had to, I used to ask them, well, who did you vote for? Because they're young and they look mature, and 16 will get you 20. and then there's the guys from the TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority. We called them the Dead Pecker Club. And they're talking, yeah, you're doing a good job renovating our mall. And then this was a trip because this mall was owned by Provident Life Insurance, who loaned us the money to buy White Lakes. And the other half is owned by Osborne Enterprises, the local old money. And I just treated them the same. I'm just there to make deals. It's like the ultimate of being a transaction broker. But because I didn't know Provident, but the guy from Provident would always come by. His name was Jack McNutt. He lived up on Lookout Mountain. And I'm telling you something, the South, living in the South, coming from Topeka and Boulder, it is a different culture down there. They're still fighting the Civil War down yonder. And, it's funny they're calling me boy. Hey, boy, boy, where you from? I go, where do you think I'm from? Well, I don't know. Well, you could be anywhere from Nashville to Memphis. No, I'm from Topeka, Kansas. Oh, you a Yankee? Yeah, we were Yankees, but we were a free state until you came over and burned our capital. We joined the Union and we kicked your ass. That'd shut them up. But I'm telling you, this is like day-to-day stuff. As some of my friends would say, they're a bunch of old crackos. But there again, so we had this guy named Claude Kaisers. He's one of the owners of the company. So Claude, after Boulder, wants to take a break. So he takes a month-long cruise. But instead of having this guy named Mike Johnson, who's the mall manager, do the plan approval, he deemed that I could do it because I'm working with him and I know what I'm doing. I know it better than anybody. So being involved with the plans from the start, having it be the best indicator of how things are going in the deals, and then getting into leasing, and it really made me a great leasing guy to work with the independent people, because my whole trick was I was pretty good at finding the independent people and getting them in the mall business. And at the very last of my tenure at Mace Ridge, that's all I did. I had a project where I traveled all over the country. And Tim and I always loved talking about my expense accounts because they were monumental. Um, but and there again, just being able to go wherever you want, whenever you want, is a luxury. But I was making so many deals, it didn't matter. So here's what I'm talking about. So when I'm elected to the county commission, I'm going to give up my real estate license and I'm going to be the deal maker for the people. There you have it. Well, I'm down to no followers on TikTok. Ooh, here, let me invite her to join. Let's see what she wants to do. She's not on. I don't know. Oh, I sent her an invitation. Maybe she can come back. I'm kind of having fun with TikTok. Somebody popped back on. Amanda, how you doing? Amanda and Rosary. How could you be two people? Is that a split personality? Is that an alter ego? But yeah, I'm enjoying the TikTok format and reaching out to um, a broader audience than I have on YouTube. I want to become, I like this water. Dr. Gundry, Dr. Gundry recommends this water. Strings to John, James and the Strings. Well, let's just see if we could get him to join in. Hello. Um, the point, Bryan Falk, if you watch this show, is that I liked your ideas today, but take the space next to you and maybe at the very front, if you want to do the coffee shop and the ice cream store, do it. But then make the whole space for you. So what if you spent too much money on the entryway? It's a beautiful space. And Spuds, I mean, he took this really, really terrible area. And I mean, it had a hole in the ceiling. But, and Bryan, you did a great job. And I really enjoyed meeting with you today. And I know the whole show was about its architects, plans, development, looking at all, I've traveled all over the country. I'll tell you who's got the best retail in the world is just go to Oxford Street in Lawrence or in London. I'm tired. London, England, Oxford Street, the best retail. And I'll tell you something, going to Harrods, whoa. When I was in London, I didn't want to come home. I was looking in the paper. Hey, they didn't really have like real estate jobs or mall leasing jobs. But if I could have found a real estate job, I'd have stayed. Man, the theater in London is awesome. And it's like stepping back in time. All right. Well, I'm going to say goodnight here on YouTube. Bryan, we need to have another meeting. I'm going to stay live on TikTok here for a minute. See if we can generate some interest. To my YouTube fans, I love you.